Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there is life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? If you have, you were on the fringe.
Welcome to On the Fringe. I'm Mark.
And I'm Philip.
I'm Pam.
And I'm Jess.
Yay, the four amigos.
Finally, I'm back.
Yay!
Yay, Phil's back.
Soccer season is over.
It is.
Before we get started on The Simpsons, I've got a few ads.
Hey, this is Mark with What If Tomorrow and What If Tomorrow on the Fringe. Be sure to check out our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com, and look at our cool merch. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and more. Our affiliates are Duke Cannon, EMP Shield, My Patriot Supply, and Conflicted the Game. Or check out buymeacoffee.com/whatiftomorrow and buy us a coffee. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and share on both Facebook and YouTube. It helps get our content out to others and help our channel grow. Now on with the show.
And we're back. Wait, it's just me. Where's everybody at?
Hey, he cut us out.
There we go.
I don't know what happened.
Anarchy.
That was funny.
You know, I asked him if he's going to drive the bus tonight, and it's just him. So,
Well, I mean,
Apparently.
I think I wrecked.
Well, if you,
I don't
you're
know.
so awesome. You don't need us, I guess. We'll just go.
With a face like this, well, I need all the friends I can get. Well, I guess tonight we are talking about predictions on The Simpsons that came true. And if we've got time, maybe a few other shows that have predicted things that's happened in real life. And the question being is, and I think I know the answer to this, are the creators of The Simpsons just way smarter than us and can guess really well? That's probably what it sounds to me like it's probably what's going on. Are they just getting lucky, that's also true, that they could be just getting lucky, or is the universe trying to tell us something? And all of these things could be true at the same time. So we're going to talk about it and let you guys decide. In any case, it should be a lot of fun.
absolutely. Yep, Enzo, I'm back, buddy. He asked me who the new guy is.
Yeah.
I kind of got to put my training wheels back on because it's been a while.
Well, I mean,
Too fun.
I'd wreck without mine.
Uh,
My training wheels are at the bottom of the screen here.
I'm kind of at that stage, you know, where when you take one off for your kid, you know, you only got
they
one
watch
training
it
wheel.
wobble.
That direction.
That's where I'm at. So.
Look at
I
me,
get
Dad.
Smack!
Except my kids are like, "Don't touch me." Okay, fine. I'll back off and let you go.
And they fall over.
Yep. Then they go, "Why'd you
Oh,
let
what
me
was
fall?"
fun was I was teaching my daughter, and I started running behind her, and I pushed her. She started going faster than I could run, and she's going, "Don't let go, Dad! Don't let go! Don't let go!" I'm going, "Hi, honey."
Keep pedaling.
Halfway down the block.
Keep pedaling until you hit something. You'll be good.
Yeah, just find something soft to land on.
Yep. Aim for the bushes. I think it's safe to say we're not very nurturing, Mark.
I mean, I'm not very a lot of things. First and foremost is smart.
Boo. That's wrong.
Hey, if I don't pick on me, somebody else will.
Yeah, for sure.
That is not a bad point.
All right. Well, so some of these predictions on The Simpsons, a lot of people know about. Everybody knows they predicted Trump winning and becoming president. Let me see. Does it say what year the?
I just saw it. The one where he's coming down the escalator. We were kind of discussing this backstage, and Pam, you were right. This was done in 2000.
Oh, I was. Wow.
So
I was.
15 years, 16 years. Yep.
Shock.
So, yeah. Yeah, but is that a hard prediction? Because Trump has been making noises about running for president for 20 years.
Yep.
Doesn't mean he
Before
would,
he ever-
though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't mean he would, but he always claimed that he would run as a Republican because they'd vote for anybody. Because he is a lifelong Democrat.
I did hear that, but didn't they disprove that that isn't actually what he said?
So it was something along those lines. It was back when I actually saw a
He's on
clip. It was
Oprah,
a
wasn't
very,
he?
I think
very
so.
young Trump.
Yeah.
It was back in the 80s or 90s when he said it. But he was great friends with the Clintons for many years.
Mhm.
So, but as the party went left, he stayed in the middle, and pretty soon everybody moved so far left. That's where he ended up.
Yep.
So, I don't know that was that big of a prediction. Although, I mean, they got it by 20 years. They predicted it.
Yeah.
So, I mean that is a very obvious one to start with. So we'll start with that.
So I kind of wonder, back to your original question to start with, I was kind of thinking about it, and I kind of wonder how much, maybe if they had somebody watching trends, seeing how things were trending and kind of making predictions off of that, or throwing that in there for comic relief or whatever it is.
And that could
Wonder.
be.
Some of them are so oddball, though.
They are.
Right.
How
They
could
are.
they have predicted that?
Like the ship
Yep.
hit the
Yeah.
bridge here recently.
Yes.
I mean, they did an episode that had almost that exact same scene in it
Mhm.
quite a while before that ever happened. I'm not sure
It
when that
is
episode came on.
like the longest or one of the longest running shows in history.
True.
So like maybe one of them sold their soul and they get all this insider information out.
Ooh. Did a Crossroads deal?
Or I mean, it could be like in the statistics. So
Yeah?
I looked this up while you guys were talking. So the show started December 17th, 1989. We all know it was the end of the 80s there. But I actually looked it up. So up to April 21st of this year, there have been 765 episodes.
So they're bound to get
Wow.
something right.
So coincidentally, you're bound to up your game, getting accidental ones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, just like Enzo said. Yeah.
Which is,
Mm.
I'm sure, where some of these come from.
Yes.
But there's
And
just
it's not
really-
all of them, but it is
Yeah.
humorous to see it.
Yeah, and just so the viewers at home know, I didn't go and write all of this down because there was too much information. But there have been a lot of writers for The Simpsons, and many of them are come and go writers. Like they'll come and stay for a year, take off a year, come back for 2 years, leave for a year, and do that kind of stuff. And a lot of them have very high education, especially in mathematics and physics. And I mean, like Harvard graduates, Stanford graduates. A lot of these people have a lot of knowledge in the technology industry, and they know people and they know what's getting ready to come out of the gate in 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead of time. So I think that plays into it a little bit too.
For sure.
Yeah. Quite possible.
That is
Yeah.
And that would explain a lot of these. Maybe I'm jumping ahead of where you guys wanted to be at, like the video chat,
smartwatch.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if we look
honestly,
at, I'm sorry.
We're all like,
if you look
ooh,
at,
Star Trek.
but if you look at pop culture, that's what I was kind of going. I mean, the communicators, was it Maxwell Smart, in the '60s,
shoe phone,
talking to
yeah.
his watch and the shoe phone and all that stuff,
Mhm.
so that's been thought of for a long time.
Yeah, Dick Tracy, the Dick Tracy watch that you used to be able to buy out of the cereal box, back in, or out of the comic book back in the 40s and 50s.
All the Star Trek communicators,
Yeah, so
I remember Captain Picard walking around with what looks like a mini tablet,
Yep.
yeah. Well, when you want to get into that sci-fi, I haven't. I'm going to say this: I have never watched the movie Ender's Game, but I read all the
Good
books
movie.
when they came out, and in the books they were using tablets. Everybody had a tablet, and that's how they did business. So, and that was years before Apple first uh, delivered on a tablet or a smartphone. So,
Yeah. But if speaking of Ender's Game, I think that's something else they were looking at with technology, because he wrote the books a long time ago.
yeah, he did. I read them when I still lived at home. The first one, I think.
Wow.
And if you're not
That was a
familiar,
long time ago, Mark.
It was a long time ago.
books,
I'm not
didn't
gonna
they?
lie.
Did they have books then, or was it,
Scrolls.
he's
Oh.
my age, or pretty close to my age. That's why I can razzie.
We dried mud and then scratching them with a stick. And I remember walking to school both ways uphill
Yeah.
In the snow.
in the snow in the middle of summer.
But yeah, if you look at the technology they used, I mean, it was all these. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie or read the books. Okay, I'll be fair. But the technology they used in those, they have these kids fighting this war, and they think they're actually in training.
Yeah.
But they're actually fighting this war, and it's almost like a VR system type thing. These guys are in. So I mean, that's another one I guess you could throw out there. Hey, this is a prediction, but it's not really The Simpsons, but I think it fits.
Well, I mean, how many people here have watched 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yep.
Right. You
Mhm.
notice at the beginning of the movie, they're all eating their dinner, watching videos on tablets while they're eating. I mean,
Huh.
that was back in the 60s,
Yeah, I think 60s or
70s.
70s.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, it makes you wonder how many of these innovations are driven by what people have imagined on some of these old books. Some kid bring that, oh, I want to make that.
Yeah.
I want to grow up and make that, and so they do.
Enzo's right. Our smartphones aren't way better than anything Kirk and Spock used by a long shot.
1,000%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about people seeing the technology. I remember Short Circuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny Five. As
Yeah.
soon as I watched that,
Your
I wanted to
mama
go out
was
and
a
make robot.
snowblower.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to go out and make a robot, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. I was like 5th grade or something, I'm like, yeah, I didn't get very far.
That is one of the hallmarks of good fiction, though, is people wanting to make the things that they see in it a reality because they love it so much.
Yeah.
We're
And
talking
I really
about
think
Ender's
that,
Game. It makes me think of The Last Starfighter. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
How they chose their recruits.
yeah,
video
testing them on
games.
video games.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Gran Turismo movie out, and it's based on a true story. And this driver, they recruited through a video game tournament, and he's actually driving race cars.
I mean,
That is wild.
Yeah, it just came out. I haven't seen it, but it's like the last couple of years.
have you seen some of the rigs some of these flight simulator people use at home?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they've got full 747 cockpit set up in their house.
That's crazy.
It's like, I've got 1,000 hours on the 747 and I've never stepped foot in one.
I don't remember what I was watching, but I was watching something and it had soldiers and they were in a Humvee and they were like running the RC cars, basically looking for MEs, or is that what they are? IRs? I don't know. What are they? The bombs.
IEDs.
Dirty bomb. Thank you. Too many acronyms. Yeah, they were looking for those, and they were like, it's like a video. If you think of it as a video game, it's not very scary, you know.
Yep.
Seen some of the new drone rigs they've got there. It is like a video game.
Yep.
It's
crazy.
I'm an aviation nut, and some of these model aircraft have cameras in the cockpit. So they've mocked up the cockpit, and it's got this teeny tiny camera that rotates with your VR set on your head. So when you turn, the camera looks where you're looking in the airplane. And so they can do super realistic stuff with a model aircraft that big or a little bit bigger.
Yeah. And I think, to me, looking at it from a military perspective, it makes sense because, for one, I mean, our generation up have really played video games and all that, and it's so immersed in our society that it's almost second nature now, to where if you find somebody that can do really well with video games, they're desensitized.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to really think about pulling the trigger as much.
No, you're separated from it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and ultimately that's what they want. They don't want you to think, they want you to do. And so to me, it's kind of a give me. I mean, that would be who I would want.
Well, I mean, the whole video game phenomenon came from DARPA. They were working on ways to desensitize troops because they found in World War II that 1 in 3 rifles found on a battlefield had never had the trigger pulled.
Right.
So only a third of the people actually on the field were actually doing the fighting because they'd been so trained in their life that they couldn't pull the trigger.
Right.
And so they started out with the realistic looking silhouettes.
Yep.
And then the cardboard cutouts of people, and then it started going to like movie images, projected images and stuff. And it all developed out of that program to desensitize soldiers before battle. And then they discovered, people are enjoying doing this. And so then the video game companies got started, and, I'm playing Fallout whenever I have time.
Right.
Of course, I've been playing Fallout for years now, and I still haven't shot anybody. I never will. Probably mostly because I couldn't hit them even if I tried. But I'm blind as a bat, people.
Use a shotgun. That way you got a better chance.
I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure I'd miss. Maybe that guy standing 4 foot away and empty a magazine and miss by 6 feet. I might scare him to death.
I'm a terrible.
I might as well just use blanks for all that I'm going to hit.
I really need to practice more because I'm bad. We always laughed because the first time I went out and shot, it was with a 357, which is kind of a crazy gun to start to shoot with, but it's what we had. And we were out on my friend's pond, and there were those great big bullfrogs. And so, yeah, I know you shouldn't do that, but it was the 80s. And as long as the frog stayed still, they were safe because I would shoot all the way around the frog and miss them. So as long as they sat there, and just didn't move,
right? That's me.
They were fine.
I might as well throw random things off my desk. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have more luck. I'd have more luck walking near it and tripping and falling on it than I would shooting it with a gun.
I'm better off turning around and using it as a club.
Yeah.
It'd be cheaper.
No kidding.
The way ammo costs right now.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Quite a bit cheaper.
But yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of the stuff's got. a lot of the stuff that we see going around every day originated in fiction, whether it be The Simpsons or Star Trek or some novel, because somebody thought it would be neat and actually made it come to pass.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it wasn't so much a prediction as it was inspirational.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, like I said, some of the stuff in the Simpsons, I don't know who would be inspired by much any of that, but like you said, there are a lot of really smart people who work on the
Yes.
show, and they're able to make educated guess. A lot of them have friends that work in the tech industry. You know, what are you working on, buddy? And oh yeah, I'm working on this great idea. I don't think it'll ever work, but so they'll
Just in
throw it in the
case.
Mhm.
We'll
show,
throw
and
it in our
then
show.
10 years later, oh,
Yeah.
Samsung has this
Well,
nifty new
the
watch.
timing is right on a lot of these. Like, this stuff doesn't come out for another 10 years. This stuff doesn't come out for another 12 years. It doesn't come out for another 8 years. Well, in the grand scheme of things, if you're working on new technology, it's going to take that long for it to go through
Oh yeah,
the phase of it being
Mhm.
thought of, it being worked through, it being tested, it being used behind the scenes before it's brought to the public.
oh yeah. They say
Yeah.
anything you use today has existed for 12 years before
Yeah.
it got to you.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So the timing is very perfect on these Simpsons stuff. And like I said, a lot of these guys, if they don't work in the industry, they know people that do. They have their foot in
Yeah,
the
There are a
water.
few
Motorola
things
was
that are
working
just
on the
really weird,
precursors to the cell phone back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
So
I'm more interested in the ones that aren't technology.
Yes.
The
Right.
ones that are just like, how the heck could they have possibly figured that one out? Like, one of my favorite ones was the three-eyed fish.
Oh yeah.
The three-eyed fish. Yeah, that was I think his name was Blinky, if I remember correctly. They found him living in a pond outside of the nuclear plant
the cooling
that he
pool.
worked at. Yeah, Mr. Burns's nuclear plant. And he glowed from the nuclear runoff and had three eyes. It was like a goldfish or something like that. But in 2011, in Argentina, a fisherman caught a three-eyed wolffish in a reservoir that was fed from the runoff from a nuclear plant. So,
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
There's been some really
yeah,
strange creatures that have been found around Chernobyl too.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
that are really mutated.
Yeah, I said the wolves are big time over there. You know, are big time mutated.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wild dogs and everything out there.
But yeah,
But it's
Loki.
amazing
Awesome.
how many things have adapted to live in that environment.
Mhm.
So I know this
Yeah.
is kind of a down the rabbit hole type of
Cats are
episode,
one
but
that's adapted to it.
oh
I
yeah,
looked it up. So that episode came out on November 1st, 1990, and they found that fish in 2011.
Wow.
so 21
So it
years.
couldn't have been like we heard about it before you all did, and we're gonna stick
Yeah.
this up here. So
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite a bit of timing. Well, I mean, and this is technology, but you guys remember the when Dolph talking into his watch and said "beat up Martin," and it was "eat up
oh, the
Martha."
autocorrect? Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that inspired everybody who were working on Alexa or Siri or whatever it was. That was their motto: was "eat up Martha." They were trying to keep that
Oh
from
no.
happening because they didn't want to be made fun of.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know one. It wasn't
came out in-
technology rated, or
That came out in 1992, so a little far away from some of the stuff that we were doing.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
There was like the Elizabeth Tower too. And it was in the episode where Lisa goes to the future and she marries that guy. What was his name? Hugh something. Hugh
Parkfield is what it
Hugh
says.
Parkfield, yeah. she travels to London, to see all the sights and things. And just for a split second in the background, you see this pointy looking building, that's showing. And this was from 1995 is when the episode aired. And the Shard, yes, it was actually built in when was it? It was constructed in 2009.
So
Yep.
there you go.
That was pretty cool. I like that
I
one.
like the digital clock face on Big Ben though.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Well, and then I just had a brain fart. Excuse me. I've read too many things. They predicted the Siegfried and Roy
Yes, the
tiger
tiger
attack.
attack.
Yeah.
That
But
was
I really was that really predicting something though? Because that was bound to
Yeah.
happen, right?
Oh,
That's
that is
kind of my thoughts on it.
true. Yeah.
Like you poke the lion. There's a saying for a reason.
yeah.
Right.
Don't pull the
Yeah.
tiger's tail.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
poke the bear.
Well, this is totally off subject. What's new? You remember a few years ago, there were like 2 tiger attacks in a week with people breaking into houses that had a pet tiger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so I had another break-in in my house this week. Oh yeah, did you call the cops? No, tiger food's expensive.
Yeah.
God, that's terrible.
I don't know. I'm just saying, those 2 yahoos, they dressed up all sparkly and stuff. They looked like giant fun cat toys.
They really.
did.
Now that you mention it, the rhinestones do
Yeah.
bear a passing resemblance to some of my cat
And
toys.
feathers and stuff. A cat toy, and I'm just saying,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
put it out there.
So
Yep.
I can see that. I can see that.
What did you guys think of the supposed 9/11 poster from The Simpsons? I wasn't quite
don't-
sure what to think about it. Did you see it? So
I've seen that one.
it's
I've seen it.
it's
I don't
supposed to
have
be
it
a
pulled
prediction
up.
of 9/11. Let me see if I can find the stuff on it. So it's literally a poster you see. It's on the episode "The City of New York versus Homer Simpson" from 1997. It includes this poster. It says New York above it, and a price tag down below that's $9. And in the background, right behind it, is the Twin Towers. And it makes it look like 11, the 2 towers in the back. So it looks like it
Yep.
says 9/11 with the Twin Towers.
Yep,
Ooh.
I see it. That is kind
And I
of
was going to pull
spooky.
that up. It's interesting.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Yeah, and that's from 1997. So if it has any validity to it at all,
Yeah, that's
it was far before.
for sure.
You got it, Mark? I got
Not
it.
very big, but that's about as big as I can make it on here. But yeah, you can see the 9 and then 11 of the Twin Towers. So that is that hits kind of close to home, right there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. The date, may be uncanny, but wasn't it 97 the first time that they tried to blow something up? Something like that? 96,
Yeah.
97?
I can't remember, but it was in the 90s when they set the bomb off in the parking garage underneath it. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
'Cause I remember I was watching a talk show and they were like bringing people in off the streets that had been in that to interview them right then, and they were covered in all the dust and everything still. That was crazy. They were all like shell shocked. We were all like,
why
"Why
the hell
yeah.
would you do that to people?
No, that is nuts." I can't remember what show that was. It might have been like Maury or something like that.
That's kind of cruel, actually.
Yeah,
So
it is.
But yeah, that was a while back.
They had the prediction of the Ebola outbreak in 2000.
Yes, that was the
Mhm.
one I was trying to think
1997.
about. So yeah,
That was from what, 97 when they had that
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, nobody knew about Ebola hardly. There was people aware of it. I was aware of it, but it hadn't become a thing yet.
And how'd they bring it up? I'm trying to remember. It was something with a book.
Mark
Curious
was reading a
George.
book.
Story or something.
Yeah,
Mark
it
was
says the
reading a
book
story.
title. Yeah, Curious George and the Ebola virus.
Curious George and the Ebola virus. Wow.
Yeah, that's the name of the book.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is pretty insane. Only there was the Higgs boson.
Higgs boson, yes.
Yeah. So,
I have that somewhere.
but they'd predict. They'd been talking about that for years. I read about it in science fiction several years before they actually found the particle.
Here it is. It was The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, episode 10, or season 10, episode 2 in 1998. Homer scribbling on a chalkboard. Shows Homer's attempt at becoming an influential inventor like Thomas Edison. Renowned British science writer Simon Singh told The Independent that Homer's final figure on the chalkboard is not too far from the 2012 CERN Higgs boson discovery. And that was in 1998. If you work it out, you get the same mass as a Higgs boson. That's only a bit larger than the nanomass of what a Higgs boson actually is. It's kind of amazing that as Homer makes this prediction 14 years before it was discovered.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, though. So I can't remember which writer it is. The main writer on this show was the dude from like Harvard that has like
The
masters in mathematics and physics and stuff. And I watched a little bit on this, and the calculation that he has up there is correct, but it's off by so many points at the end that in the field of mathematics and physics, it's actually incredibly way off.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
So he was on the right path, like it's the correct setup for it, but his end result, even just with those few off on the back end there, is enough to be far off for them. So on the right track, but not exact.
Ballpark for you and me, but way off for particle physicists.
Yeah, is what they said. So, I mean, that's what I read. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read.
I mean, if particle physicists said it's true,
yeah,
we all know how accurate they are.
That's too much math for me.
I know, that makes me glaze over. Just even
any math makes me glaze over. Let's see. Let me switch pages here. I got a whole bunch of these things pulled up.
There's like 48 of them. We couldn't possibly go through
There's
them all.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
the submersible disaster. That was a good one.
Which one?
The submersible.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, it had a lot of... Not exactly the same, but yeah.
No, but, the depictions of the submersibles in that episode are markedly similar to the actual one that imploded. So, but it is, you can only shape them so many ways.
So I heard a couple of things about that, and you guys tell me what you heard of, or what you think. I know one of them, one thing that I heard, and I think everybody heard immediately after it happened, well, once they determined what had happened, they released it to the public, was that it imploded and they didn't even know what hit them. They were just
that is true.
Turned into a mist.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had also heard a few weeks later, maybe, that they had found parts of them.
Oh yeah, it would have. It'd been like squeezing them out of the ends of a tuna can.
Oh, gotcha. So there could have been parts.
There could have been parts anywhere. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's just like smashing a can full of something. The goop's going to come out the ends.
Oh, dang.
Sorry if that was a little graphic.
Sorry,
listeners, if that was a little graphic. But I mean, that's what happens in implosions. Not to get off on a rabbit hole, but it's kind of the show. So, uh, back when they were first experimenting with diving suits,
Mhm.
they were experimenting with suits with a helmet, and if the air pump stopped unexpectedly, the water pressure would push the whole body up into the helmet
Oh,
from
Wow.
the suit
dang.
until somebody thought about putting a check valve so that the pressure wouldn't fall when the pump stopped. So now they could only suffocate. They wouldn't get shoved up into the helmet. I mean, this is something that this was the 1800s when this was happening. So
So that makes me
it's,
think of like the Jules Verne's, where they show the helmet when they're walking out.
yeah, the big brass helmet with the round windows with the
Yeah.
cross hatching on it. Yeah, until some genius put a check valve in that hose, if the air pump stopped, the water pressure, and you didn't have to be terribly deep, the water pressure would just push the whole body right up into the helmet and
Dang.
like
That's
sausage.
crazy.
That is
So,
nuts.
Ooh.
not to be morbid, but that's what water pressure does. You can
You want morbid? I'm picturing, and I know they wouldn't be alive, obviously, but I'm picturing this little bitty guy coming. Hi, honey, I'm home. That day at the office.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like Wile E.
Uh,
Coyote, a little sign.
yeah. Never trust a coyote with anything made by Acme.
That's
No,
right.
that's the truth. Believe me.
I know. I make fun of Mike all the time. My husband works at Acme Foundry.
Yep. So
When
how's your friend Wiley doing?
Well, when my daughter was little, she used to ask him if he made the earthquake pills.
Awesome.
Do you remember the earthquake pills?
Yes.
How's your friend Wiley doing? Acme rockets. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Acme
goodness.
disintegrator.
He always just said, "Well, that's not my department, honey."
That's great.
Get into it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Hilarious.
He was into the anvils and stuff, so
Right?
yeah.
I mean, that's it.
He just painted a lot of little tunnels on sides of rocks.
Well,
Basically, yeah.
That's funny.
let's see.
There's the football predictions, the Super Bowl.
That
Oh,
one
yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1992, Lisa correctly predicted that the Washington Redskins would win the Super Bowl.
Yep. Oh, the FIFA corruption scandal. That was good.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a good one.
So,
What was that one? Wasn't Homer was he a ref?
Yeah.
Referee in that one?
yep.
And they were trying to bribe him to make, to influence the outcome of the game and all that stuff. And they come
Yes.
out several years later. I just had that one up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Interesting to note on the football one, I didn't realize this, but I guess they like replayed that one the next year.
Mhm.
And
dubbed
they
in the-
dubbed in the two teams that were playing the next
Yep.
year, which was, what was it? The Cowboys.
Yeah, they got the Cowboys right.
Yeah, they like dubbed it in. It was Cowboys and somebody else, and the Cowboys won. And so they like kind of predicted it again in a way. So
Yeah, they did it 4 years in a row. And they hit
yeah.
it 100%.
I mean, that could have been just good odds, calculations too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was the Disney one where they predicted that Disney was going to buy 20th Century Fox.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Disney got busy buying a lot of stuff, and Disney's hurting right now.
Wow,
They,
that's their own fault.
Yeah,
I
it
agree.
is. And the investors are angry, and the board of directors wants to do nothing about it. I would be angry if I was an investor. I would have bought a stock to make money, not to lose my ass.
Right.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
kidding.
One I thought was pretty cool was the Richard Branson one in space. Did you guys see that one?
Mm.
Oh,
It's just like in passing. It's just a short clip where it shows him because the whole episode wasn't even about space.
Mhm.
and they showed Richard Branson. I can't remember what year it came out, but it just showed a real quick clip of him being in space. Then several years later, it's not Blue. Is it Blue Origin? No, it's Virgin Galactic, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
it's
Richard Branson owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virgin Galactic.
What are you doing?
I think you have a stray gremlin there, Phil.
Which
Yeah. She's not a stray. She's got a home.
Oh, okay.
Virgin Galactic is that the one that's doing the space plane that looked kind of like a space shuttle?
Yeah.
So that is actually, this is a fact. They are actually finally getting that one, quote unquote, off the ground, and the military, the government, is wanting to do a contract to use it to get anywhere in the world in an hour or two, just basically using it as a hyperspeed air transport. So
Wild.
these are the things that people have imagined that are coming to pass.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Your imagination is powerful. Whether you're imagining something into existence, like when we talk about tulpas or whatever, or whether you're imagining stuff into existence just by inspiring others to create it.
Mhm.
There's not really that much difference.
And
You
not
know,
everybody has the
philosophically.
ability to think something up
Yeah.
and to implement it. So
Yeah. A lot of people can come up with a good idea, but they
Yes.
don't have the ability to implement it. Then somebody else sees that idea and says, I can actually make that.
yeah, if you can dream it up, I can build it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Bill dreams it and Ted builds it.
Hmm.
Excellent.
Gene made a machine.
It's an excellent adventure.
That's right.
That's the first TED Talk.
Oh,
Right.
true.
It is the
That's
first TED
funny.
Talk.
I guess it
We
really
all know what
was.
Art did.
Really?
That's
I mean, we're way out there, people.
Oh, I
That's all right.
know.
That makes it fun.
Well, you're talking about, like somebody invents it or somebody talks about it and then someone else invents it later. The cooking grease episode. That's kind of what I thought of it. You
Mhm.
guys remember that one where Homer was running around stealing the cooking grease from
Yeah.
the restaurants and selling it?
Oh,
And then like
The whole
later that
biodiesel
same
thing
year,
took off.
they had thieves in like New York City and stuff stealing
still in cooking grease.
the cooking grease and selling it to like the biodiesel people and stuff.
I had
I mean-
forgotten about that one.
So yeah,
That's
that's
better
listed
than-
as a prediction, but I don't think it's prediction. I think it literally inspired them to
To actually do it.
Well,
Yeah.
and,
To
you
Well,
know,
actually
that's
do
like
it.
any
most
weird thing
people
that goes
don't
around.
realize.
Tide Pods, kids eating Tide Pods. That started with one idiot, and then everybody
Yep.
else saw it and was like, "Oh, let me try that too."
Most
Yeah.
people didn't realize at the time the diesel engine was designed to run on peanut oil. Mr. Diesel's first engine ran on peanut oil, not petroleum. And
Wow.
so a diesel engine, if you've got clean vegetable oil and it's not cold
burn
enough to make it gel, it'll run on it. It might smell like French
Yep.
fries.
Might
it'll
smell
run on it.
fabulous.
So
That smells
basically, all you
delicious.
really have to do is filter it out real good and put it in your tank.
Yep.
That's
There's-
wild.
It's not rocket science. You mix it up with a little bit of real diesel, and you're good to go.
That's the sad part. That's where all the money comes in, because there are things like that. There's engines that can run on water, and those, good Lord,
Oil
I lost the
company?
word. The patent is purchased, and then it's never put into fruition because, whoever doesn't want it put it that way, like the big gas and oil companies,
Right.
they'll pay big bucks
Yep.
to keep stuff like that
And those
out.
guys usually wind up dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up with Boeing? Speaking of that, whistleblowers.
I'm afraid of talking about that because I don't want to end up next on the list.
Yeah.
No
I
kidding.
mean, I
That's crazy.
have no intention to die.
Yeah. If I should die,
Yeah, it's
It was
Not
either
for that
Boeing or
reason.
Bill and Hillary Clinton. I mean,
But are they the
one of those.
same?
One of those.
Are they the same?
I have a
They might be.
I have
don't
a
know.
theory on that. Really, I do. And right, wrong, or indifferent. If you look at their biggest investor, or investors, is BlackRock, Vanguard, and this has nothing to do with tonight's show. So I'll give that disclaimer. But if you look at those guys, they have their tentacles and everything, and I seriously mean tentacles. And they're the ones driving all this DEI stuff and all that. The whole one world government thing and all that. They're driving this. They're the ones putting out the standards for the equity and inclusion, and it doesn't matter. These major companies are following along, because if they don't, well, they lose their investors. In Vanguard and BlackRock, and there's one other I don't remember. If they lose those guys, well, they lose billions of dollars.
Yeah, so they can't afford to let anything get out. I'm not saying that they did or they didn't, but it's awfully suspicious.
Yeah,
It is.
it smells fishy.
It does.
If it looks like it's fish and smells like a fish, it probably is a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken.
Chicken? I mean, could be fish and chicken. Or gator.
Yeah,
Mm.
gator. Gator's kind of in between, isn't it?
It's kind of a chicken fish.
Right.
Fishy
I mean, if
chicken.
you've ever eaten gator, really, if you've ever eaten gator, it really
Yep.
kind of is.
Yeah.
It is.
I like alligator. I think it's good.
It's delicious, though.
It is
I've
delicious.
never had it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good.
I'm not supposed to eat anything with 4 legs, so I don't know. Does that include gators?
I don't know.
That'd
Not
be-
if you eat the tail.
I'm not sure I want to
Is
try
it-
just for that reason.
Is it mammalian that you're not supposed to eat?
Yeah, it is mammalian, but they told me anything with 4 legs, so I guess it would be okay because it's not mammalian. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, most people think 4 legs. They're
Fried
thinking,
lizard.
beef
Yeah.
or pork or
Beef, pork, goats. I can't eat goats.
Right.
Darn.
Mhm.
Yep.
I like goat. I like a good barbecue goat.
Squirrel. Can't eat squirrel.
That
Rabbits.
shit's tough. You don't want to eat that.
I don't want it. I wouldn't eat it anyway.
It's tasty. It's just not worth the effort.
Yeah.
It's not worth the effort.
Yeah. It's like a Cornish hen. Why bother?
Well, I
Yeah,
can
there's
eat
not
a whole
enough there.
Cornish hen all by myself. It's fine. It's a snack.
A little sneaky
You
snack.
just take the whole thing, dump it in some honey mustard. Just take the skeleton out.
Bones.
Why have bones?
Too many bones. Not enough chicken or hen. I don't know.
I found one.
So-
I was going through my list. The faulty voter machines.
Oh, that's
Yes,
a good
I
one.
saw
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
And
So this one's from the Treehouse of Horror, season
Those are my
20,
favorite
episode 4.
Those are the best.
Homer goes into a booth to attempt to vote for Barack Obama, only for the computerized machines to count it for John McCain. It took a full election cycle for this one to occur, as a 2012 viral video depicted a voting booth in Pennsylvania doing the exact same thing with Obama and Mitt Romney.
Yep.
I mean, that is kind of suspicious that the company that makes all the voting machines is owned by the husband of someone very high up in the government. I would consider that a conflict of interest, but who am I?
Yeah.
Somebody
There's a
who's
lot
going
of
to get
crap.
knocked off by Boeing. That's who I am.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah,
that's
and
of
another one,
interest.
since we're kind of on that track, the NSA spying.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm,
Is one.
yeah.
That's true.
I think it could be arguable that people knew, I mean, ahead of time, could figure it out.
Yeah.
So I think
Well,
you could argue that.
It was a joke in the 60s that you couldn't say anything because the FBI was going to be watching you. And look what happened. I mean,
Yep.
And the NSA is still spying on us today. We are
yeah.
probably on all kinds of lists. Mostly the nut job list, but we're on all kinds of lists.
The nut job list or the truth knowers list?
That too.
Yes.
We're probably on the
Yes.
nut job list.
Oh,
That's how they like to. That's
I
how
think
they
it's
like
one
to
of the
perceive us.
same.
Probably. I think you're right.
You know,
okay. I got a good one.
okay.
The tobacco plants.
The
Yes.
Do you
tobacco.
remember the
plant.
tobacco?
I
I just
remember
read
that.
that.
Tobaccos. The tomatoes
Yeah.
tobacco, is that what it was?
Yeah, so he was
Yep.
using crap he was bringing home from the nuclear plant, and like it fused all this weird stuff, and he got the tobacco plant. Meanwhile, in 2013, they started having hybridized horror plants pop up around the Fukushima nuclear power plant. So it was kind of doing the same thing. It was making all that weird crap.
That is
Yeah,
nuts.
this article here, this is the first I'd seen of it on here, because I have a little article pulled up with it.
Okay.
And this says, while no one has thankfully tried to find a way to make money out of these monstrous mutations, it's not too far-fetched to imagine less scary versions of these in grocery stores in the future.
There's already less scary versions of those in the grocery stores today.
Yeah.
When your dog or your cat won't eat it,
Yep.
Yeah.
you probably don't
It's-
want it either.
Well, it's
One of
like,
the-
do you remember the plants that they showed that was popping up around Chernobyl? Like the little wild daisies and stuff, and like 3 of the petals on it would be like puffy and huge, and then the other ones would be like super tiny and it'd have like a bent stem. You're like, oh my
I
god.
guess.
Scary.
How do you
Yeah.
spell that? Because I haven't seen that.
Which one?
What?
The plants.
Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Oh,
Chernobyl.
the tobacco? Tomacco?
No. I'm sorry.
Or
The Chernobyl plant.
Oh.
CH.
So you got
CRNOBYL.
CHERYNVOL.
Okay.
Yeah. But I
Thank
mean,
God for autofill.
that's another thing, and this is probably the wrong show for that, but we're going to talk about it anyway because it's our show. We can do what we want. There's no reason to have nuclear power plants that are that nasty. We've had the technology for 70 years to make relatively safe nuclear power, but the powers that be decided they wanted to make bomb components, which can only be made in the current technology of a nuclear plant. I mean, it's Eisenhower's military industrial complex.
Yep.
So I mean, and that I guess it kind of does. It's considered a fringe theory, but it's not. So I guess we're on the right show for that, but it really doesn't have anything to do with The Simpsons. Well, it does. I guess there's a nuclear power plant in The Simpsons.
That's true.
How much money is Mr. Burns making selling plutonium to the government?
Remember when he glowed
Right.
and he would run around at night going, I wish you love, or something like that? What was that?
I can't remember that episode, but yeah, I know
I
which
thought
one.
he
you're
was a
talking about.
ghost or an alien or something. That was hilarious. Yes.
Mr. Burns was just scary anyway. Like,
He is.
don't yell at me. His henchman. He was kind of a stereotypical Dr. Evil type.
Hmm. For sure. Still a good
Oh.
show. I mean, they had some really good characters over the years on there.
Mm,
I remember I didn't want my kid to watch it when he was little, though, because he was kind of a creative.
copycat, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want him getting ideas.
Yeah, my wife don't like it. We tried to watch it, and she's like, I don't like this show, so I don't watch it. I mean, it's mundane anyway, really. I mean, but they're still going. I mean, I
They
can't
are.
really
I haven't watched it like
discount it.
weekly.
They are making money hand over fist on that
Yep.
show. Yeah, I The Simpsons are okay. I was always much more of a Futurama fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that
I
coming
like
back?
Futurama too.
Didn't I see they were bringing that
Futurama's
back?
fun. Not American Dad. Family Guy.
Family
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Guy.
Just
I'm
because
I
more.
liked
it's so
American Dad
bad.
too.
Giggity, giggity.
I kind of feel like American Dad sometimes. Like, but yeah, Family Guy. People say I look like I look like Peter.
Peter.
That's why I never.
Peter.
That's why you'll never see me in a white button up. It's just not happening.
Don't wear white button-ups with the green pants and you'll be fine.
You need to wear it to
Right?
the Paracon.
I could. I actually thought about cosplaying as Peter.
With the funky toupee. Like a helmet hat toupee.
Yeah. I could totally
be
pull
awesome.
it off.
Green
man.
pants.
You need a butt chin,
Green
though.
pants and a white button up.
Do your butt chin.
See what it's May now. June, July, August, September.
You
Yeah, 4 months to get the laugh down.
That is funny.
I giggle too much. I mean it's embarrassing to say. I mean, I do the fat man giggle, and it's horrid. I mean, I probably scare small children everywhere.
Mwahaha.
Oh,
You
I
know,
can
one that
do
I
that.
saw, one that I saw on the Simpsons stuff that I thought was weird. I had never heard of this, and it's a little disturbing. Actually, was Whacking Day. Did you guys see that one?
Whacking
I was
Day,
just looking
yeah,
at
or
that
they
one.
whack the
Whacking Day?
snakes.
Yeah, where they whack the snakes. Is that it's and the Florida Python Challenge? There really is a
Mhm.
Florida Python Challenge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is
Well, I
crazy.
mean, the pythons, but people have released. It didn't take very many of them, and they started breeding in the wild. They
Yeah,
are
they're invasive
destroying the
species.
ecosystem down there.
They hunt them down there, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we watch these guys on YouTube called the Outdoor Boys. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard of them. And it's a cool channel. It's a cool family channel because that's all this guy does. He used to be a lawyer, and he started making money off YouTube. And that's all he does. He travels, takes his boys. He'll take one boy. He's got 3 boys, and he'll take one at a time on these little adventures. And it's cool. I mean, he's like up in Alaska. And he took one of his sons down to Florida,
Mhm.
and they went on a snake hunt. And they hunt them down there, and they cook them up, and they'll eat them, and all that.
That is nuts.
But yeah, it's cool.
I don't know how pythons taste, but rattlesnake is delicious.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, they really are.
It's good. You fry them in catfish fry. Yum.
Oh yeah.
You scare adults too.
Enzo, you're not wrong.
I truly did not know this, and it said the Florida Python Challenge calls on individuals to help control the population of invasive Burmese pythons, and it has become a highly anticipated annual event with cash prizes that go up all the way to $10,000. The event sees more participants every year, with no soul singer like Barry White around to give them a reason to stop. I forgot about that.
It's like us doing the coyote challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess you're right. Yeah, that makes more sense. Huh.
The coyotes out. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Southeast Kansas has a lot of wild coyotes. Ever
There's
since
a
I was a little
bunch.
kid,
Everywhere.
they'll destroy your chickens. They'll chase your cattle. They'll
Yeah.
take out your goats. And pardon.
And they're not afraid of humans anymore because we've had enough
Nope.
stray dogs get integrated into their little groups.
gene pool.
They've bred into them, and now a lot of them aren't even scared of humans. They'll come right up into your yard
Which is terrifying.
Oh,
You have little kids
when
as
we're
well.
out,
and take your pets.
when
Yeah.
I'm out running aircraft, I've had them walk right up to the pad where I was at
Mm-hmm.
and just look at me like, "What are you doing, man?
Yep.
Is that bird tasty?"
I heard.
I had to
I'll go ahead.
warn pilots off the runway because the coyotes were out on the runway.
Yep.
Mhm.
I heard they also here recently released wolves over in the Flint Hills, which isn't very far from us,
No, that's not very far. Not for a wolf.
to
They
control the deer
it's-
population.
Yeah.
and something's got to because those are out of control too.
Mhm.
Say
Yeah.
what you want, but hunting is necessary to cull populations because we're providing an artificial source of food in corn and wheat and whatever crops that we raise for food crops. So because of this, deer often have twins, triplets, or quadruplets
Yep.
because they have had plenty of food and they will breed to meet their food source. So they're the deadliest animal in North America.
are.
More people die in car deer accidents than to any other animal, all the other animals combined, really.
We were
Yeah.
talking about that on that recent road trip that we took up to Geneseo too. Mark and I, we had gone to Pythian Castle in
Springfield.
what's that? Yeah, Springfield, Missouri. I don't know, the end of last year, and we saw, how many would you estimate deer
I
we
would
saw
say over 200 dead deer carcasses
yeah,
on the
between-
road.
in a 3-hour drive?
Yeah,
And
that's
that
crazy.
was there and
Each one of
back.
those-
But there was
Each one of those was a total car or a possible injury.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
like I said, it's the deadliest animal in North America.
It was like every quarter of a mile, it seemed like there was a dead deer on the side of the road.
Yeah, and
That's nuts.
those of you who do not know, who live in cities, deer are one of the stupidest animals
Mhm.
you will ever encounter
Yeah.
because
Yep.
they come out on the highway and they look at you like, "Oh, look, it's a car. Let me stand in front of it."
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the comedian Ron White?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about, his brother would go and get in the tree stand and be really quiet and wait on the deer. And he's like, I hit one going, 55 miles an hour down the highway with lights on and horns blaring. They're not the most elusive creature.
Yep.
They
No,
aren't.
they're-
A friend of my husband's had gone out hunting one day, got up real early, and got down into his little blind he had built for himself and waited and waited and at some point fell asleep. And when he woke up because there was a freaking deer standing over the top of him. And he'd fallen asleep and he rolled away from his gun, so he couldn't even reach his gun in time. Yeah. Woke up with
So
a
was
deer
the
standing.
deer really dumb or really smart?
Yeah.
Well, you know darn well that deer could smell him.
I
So
had
how
to,
stupid
yeah.
do you have
Yeah.
to be?
I could see the deer
Now-
go up there and slowly push the gun away
Yeah.
with one paw and then just stand
Probably. He was like, what's this thing?
there. What you gonna do, doofy human?
Yeah.
Now I've been out deer hunting, sitting just leaning up against a tree early one morning, just sitting quiet, watching. I love hunting in the mornings. And I hear this rustling like right above me. And I knew it was a squirrel, but I looked up and I was like eyeball to eyeball with this little squirrel. And his eyes got that big. It was like a cartoon. He's like, "Oh crap," and took off. And I went, "Oh crap."
I've had bobcats walk right up to me and
Yeah.
look at me like, "What are you going to do about it, fat boy?"
Yep.
Oh man.
I guess
I have one for you. I have a friend that used to
You have a friend?
I do. Shocker, huh? He duck hunts. And he was out in his duck blind and there was some ducks that had just landed down on the pond. And he kicked off his little thing to scare them up and they flew up and he went to go shoot. And when he didn't know it. There was some ducks really close to his blind and they flew up and crapped on him.
That's great.
Like right in
That's
his face. So he didn't get a shot off at all. He was mad.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, back
Yeah,
to
hunting.
the Simpsons. How about the Lady Gaga episode?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Pam looks perplexed.
I
Yeah,
am.
they did
I
it.
don't know if I know that one.
They did it in 2012, and she was on in 2017. So
It was Lisa Goes Gaga,
something like that. I don't.
and she's older, and she's like this pop singer or something like that, and she's on stage. And then later on, when Lady Gaga did the Super Bowl, she was wearing a near exact outfit
That's
as the
awesome.
one from Lisa. But I see that's another one where you're like, it's a little touch and go. Like, did Lady Gaga see that and emulate the
I
outfit?
think it would be hilarious to do.
Yeah.
She could have.
So, I mean, that sounds like something she would do. She's
Yeah.
pretty hilarious. So,
Interesting.
Like,
What
yeah.
about the horse meat scandal?
Uh,
You see
I'm
that one?
sorry, that is not a scandal. When I got to go to Europe when I was in high
Mhm.
school. I was with a little orchestra and band that got to travel around for a few weeks. And the first thing they warned us about was how to watch out for horse meat because it was in everything.
Yep.
It was a filler meat over there. In
Oh,
Europe, through France, into Austria, even Germany, we had to watch for it. So, and at one point, I actually got some in a burger. I was so sad because I was like, I ate My Little Pony.
I'm going to say something really unpopular.
uh-oh.
I'm going to
Oh
say something
no.
super unpopular. Probably get the show knocked off forever. I despise horses. They're the stupidest, stinkiest animals I've ever encountered. I much prefer
Mom,
cattle, both as
we are
friends
we are
and as
deep
food.
in like the country here. Like
Cattle country.
everybody has horses. We
Yeah,
just lost half of our viewers.
I know it's terrible. Now, I like donkeys and jackasses. They're actually smart.
Now's the
But
time to run
horses,
the
I
little
hate
thing,
horses.
the little disclaimer across the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Yes.
We are not
All the
responsible for
opinions.
what Mark Bannon says.
Wow.
I mean, I
Oh,
would
no.
totally eat a horse.
You know, I don't
Uh-oh.
think
You're
I
in
knew
trouble,
your
Mark.
middle name.
You got
Yep.
in trouble.
I got the middle name. I am in trouble.
Wow.
Get him, Chris.
I would totally eat a horse burger. If you offered me a horse burger, I would totally eat it.
It's not
Ew.
good. It's not good. You don't want it. Mm-mm.
Oh.
That's so
It's
gross.
really gamey and it's really mealy. It has this bitter taste to the back of it, and
Eh.
it's shreddy like turkey.
So they-
only
Does it
not.
taste like chicken?
They taste like they smell then, like absolute crap.
Yeah, it does.
Tastes
It's
like
not
glue?
good.
I don't know.
Like, there's a reason. Like when you hear about like in historical documentaries when like these armies were starving and their last resort was to kill their horses and eat them. There was a reason. It wasn't because they were pets. It's because ew.
Because yuck.
That was like their last resort. Like, I'm gonna eat my horse before I eat my best friend Lou over here. But it's the last resort
Ugh.
before I eat Lou.
There we go.
Yes. That.
I love it. I love it. And
That's
this is
awesome.
true. You know, my opinions really don't count for a whole lot. I'm kind of out there.
Maybe you should put that on a consistent scroll.
Right.
Just let it run.
See what I can do.
I mean, we
here.
could make it a
That's
banner so we can share it every time. And, you know.
Right.
Funny.
You should probably do that.
Oh yeah.
There we go. The Mark disclaimer should always be on standby.
I bet you
Yeah.
money I'm allergic to horse.
We'll just leave it up there because we'll just use it from now on every episode because I mean it's true. I'm a weirdo. And you're just going to have to resign yourself to
So
that fact.
funny.
Oh, here we go. Got it now.
Yay!
I am sorry if I have offended anybody. I really don't like horses. I never have.
Huh. Did one kick you as a small child?
I just don't like the way they smell and they're dumb and they bite.
You know, one of my friends, she has horses, and she's had them her whole life, and she has this one that's just a doofus, and but it's a girl because we were laughing about special ed, so we started calling her Special Edna. So she has a horse named Special Edna. Terrible.
Like I said, it's an unpopular opinion, and I apologize if I have offended anybody. But
Hey,
Oh,
you said
good
the
fun.
thing out loud that some people can't. So
Yep. Good fun.
I would
Hey,
rather
this
eat
is one I
salad.
haven't seen.
That sure
um,
tastes like farts.
The Baby Translator. I haven't seen this one. I just ran across it.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a baby genius?
for Maggie.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
yet
sure.
another one of those, though, that I think, it just inspired.
Inspired a
It's
show.
possible.
Or probably, I'm sure people are already working on stuff like that. I mean, they've been trying to make translators for animals and pets for
Dolphins.
Yeah, they
years
have
and
the buttons
Yeah.
for dogs. already.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
Eric's friends, we went to visit them when we were in Manhattan, and they have a cat named Willie, and they have a button for Willie that says outside, and he stomped it so many times because that's his favorite place is outside. Stomped it so much that it broke, and now he has a bell. They gave him a bell instead.
Oh no.
I don't know. Like, I know they make these like apps that you can download on your phone that's supposed to translate what your cat meows at you. And all I could think of was like, I don't want to know what my cat's
No,
saying
my
to me.
cats are evil.
I can't imagine the foul mouth nastiness that would come out of that.
It's mostly going to be feed me, slave. Rubbing my belly.
Yeah,
Looks
only
like
it
it
won't be
sometimes.
slave. It'll be some really bad language.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Some of the looks they level at you. Sometimes you can tell what they're thinking just by looking at their little faces. They're like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
The death
yeah.
threats that are coming your way. Like,
Yeah,
I know where you sleep.
I get those from my cats all the time. I mean,
I know how to turn the dial on your oven. I'll leave the gas running.
it could happen. It could happen.
we had one cat that would try to wake you up to feed him, and his name was Thomas, and he would like crawl up on you, and if you didn't pay attention to him, he'd start flipping your lip with his paw. That'd be his first thing, you know. And if that didn't work, he would start running across the bed. And you know how some cats have the primordial pouch? He had that, and he'd come running across and let that slide right across your face. It's like, oh my God. So if the lip flip didn't wake you up, the pouch would every time. Be like, oh, I can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that cat would grow wings.
Ooh. He was a great cat, or he would not have survived as long as he did. Other than that one thing, he just needed to make sure his food bowl was full before he went to bed.
Huh.
My cats
Speaking of
wait
cat,
for
yours
me
was floating
when I get
behind
up
you.
in the morning.
Oh, mine did?
They're waiting
Yeah.
on me outside my
Did
bedroom door.
Yep. Did we want to do anything beyond Simpson stuff? Because I have a lot.
Yeah, let's do it.
We can do
'Cause
it.
we're
We
starting-
can start it and be a teaser for another show, because I think we could do another show on
Yeah.
media
So
predictions.
Swirling all over
I
this.
was talking to them backstage. In the process of looking for all of this stuff, I ran onto so many 9/11 predictions that it can probably be its own show. And there's some incredible stuff in that. So I might do one or two of those, but I think we'll leave those for a whole other show. Basically because those need pictures to go with it. There's a lot like of album covers and movie stuff, and it's crazy. So let's see here. What can we do? So Quantum Leap. Does everybody at home remember Quantum Leap?
I remember
yeah.
that show.
Love
Oh boy.
Quantum Leap. So there was actually a Super Bowl prediction in Quantum Leap. It happened in 1990. Sam, the main guy in Quantum Leap, the one that does all the leaping into all the different times, was watching Super Bowl 30, which at the time, so this was 1990, so it wouldn't be played until 1996 is when Super Bowl 30 happened. He's sitting there watching it, and he mentions that the Steelers were playing and they were trailing by 3 points at that time. And later on in the actual Super Bowl 30, the Steelers were in it and did trail by 3 at the end.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's as if like he said play by play kind of what was happening later on in
pretty cool.
1996. Yeah, which
That's
is
See,
kinda
those are the
creepy.
ones, those types of predictions like that, I kind of put more stock into
Yeah.
because it's
Because
harder
it's
to
random.
explain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
That's not something you can,
Yeah. The show Legends of Chamberlain Heights, which this one was End of Days. It played November 16th, 2016. Comedy Central featured Kobe Bryant dying in a helicopter crash.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes, which actually predicted almost exactly what happened to Bryant when he died in 2020 in the helicopter crash.
In January, I think he died. January or
Mhm.
February.
Man, that's
That's crazy.
crazy.
How bad
Yeah,
would you
so-
feel to find out something like that came true later on?
That would
I would feel horrible as a writer because you think like, did I wish it into
Yeah.
being or
Existence, yeah.
something?
Right.
Yeah.
Or I mean, let's. This is the fringe. Did future me tell in my dreams? Did future me let present me know?
So if you
Yeah.
go that far, did future whoever set these predictions into play in all of these shows?
I mean,
Yep.
it could be. I mean, that's been a theory about how prescience works. You know, the ability to predict the future, because it's like quantum leap string theory. You're
Mhm.
connected to you in the future, and what you in the future knows, the you in the past could conceivably pick up on.
Weren't we discussing this on the other show the other night, Jess, where it's like a muse for artists is
Yeah.
actually in a different dimension, or
Yeah. So it's the theory that all things that are, all things that will be, all things that used to be, all exist at the same time. Nothing new will ever be invented. Everything exists in some line somewhere, and that writers, artists, musicians, anyone who creates is a muse, as in, you know, like the old term of muse, and their jobs are to technically bring those other things into these lines. So when they dream it, they're not dreaming of something new. They're actually pulling from somewhere else and bringing it into being in their own line.
I
That's
mean,
that
yeah,
theory.
yeah, it's interesting.
that could
Yeah.
be.
So it's conceivable. So like a writer is a creative, and so when they have these ideas, maybe they're pulling from things that have happened in other lines.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't happened in this line yet. So we're getting like this effect where it looks like it's a prediction.
This is actually not a new idea either. I remember 40, 50 years ago reading a science fiction story in Isaac Asimov's Science Fiction Science Fact magazine, which I missed terribly. I wonder if they still make that, because I should probably subscribe because it was great. The serialized stories and stuff, and the one-offs, the really short one. One of them was precisely that. This guy was frozen when he died, and they revived him 200 years later. He was the great predictor of everything, because everything that he had written about came to pass exactly as it was. And the theory that was propounded was that because he woke up 200 years in the future, he knew all these things. And that's why the past him was able to predict it.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
there might be something there. There might not be, but it's not an original idea. It's been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are connected to your future self. Do you remember things that haven't happened yet?
So yeah, that makes sense, because look at all the cycles. You know, everything comes in a cycle. It may be thousands of years of a cycle for all we know, but what if it does, and it's that same, you know, these there's nothing new under the sun theory, you know, where here it is again. And if
Yeah.
if there is a connection there to future and past selves.
Yeah, well,
What if
that's
they
why I
cycle
kind of
every
liken
1,000
it to
years
that
or
string
whatever?
theory they talked about in Quantum Leap. I mean, maybe you don't necessarily leap like Sam did, but maybe you just remember stuff that hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
You're not predicting anything. You just remember it. It just hasn't happened yet.
Well, if all time is occurring at the same time, then yeah. Why
Well,
not?
then when you get into quantum entanglement and stuff like that, that's you can go nuts with that.
Mhm.
You really get that. I
Mhm.
mean, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Well, it's like my fairy
Whole
ring
other
theory.
podcast.
Yeah, your fairy ring. Yeah.
Episodes.
If
yeah.
we're existing in all the lines all at the same time and you die off on one line, and your consciousness moves over, maybe in that line that
Mushroom.
stuff had already happened.
Mhm.
Or
And
maybe you're
so
just picking up
telling
on it.
yourself, and you're just you're not realizing that you're remembering something from a different line.
Your mushroom rhizomes are still connected, and so
Yeah.
whether maybe it's not multiple dimensions, maybe your mushroom rhizomes are connected to the future, and it's just making its way around the circle till it gets back to you.
You know what would be a really
Exactly.
interesting show to do is one on the connections on trees, on the root systems, and how things are communicated.
Enzo, I like the way you think. And then just
Yes.
yep.
Enzo says, so if I memorize the lottery number winner.
Enzo, if you win the lottery, you gotta remember me.
For sure.
He
That'd
will
be
as
really-
he's speeding away in his fancy new van.
It'd be, ha, ha, ha.
Well, I think if he won the lottery, he'd need at least one hilarious, funny-looking sidekick that wears overalls.
He'd need a driver.
Yeah. So I've got the hat for it.
You got the hat.
I do. So,
I've taken the
just
defensive
remember it's
driving
all
courses.
from the beach.
Nice.
Well, he drinks something with lots of rum out of a coconut. Yeah, I get it.
All
I
right,
get it,
all right.
Enzo.
Moving on. Let's do some more of these. Gotten off in the weeds.
We were way off in the weeds.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
that's what
I
makes it
thought this one-
fun.
I thought this one was interesting. So this one is from the TV show Scrubs. I don't know if we all remember that one about all the young
I
doctors
never
and
watched it, but I'm
interns.
aware of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Scrubs is great.
So in it, there was this kooky janitor, and I can't remember the name of the dude that played him. Anyway, all this dude did was he was off in the background, and he would tell the most inane, made up stories. It was like supposed to be wise, but it just came off weird. Anywho, in season 6, episode 7, he started spouting the story about how they were going to find Osama bin Laden, but they wouldn't find him in Afghanistan. They would find him in Pakistan. And this was in 2006. They
Wow.
found Osama bin Laden in 2010 in Pakistan instead of Afghanistan. So
Yeah.
that was a little weird one.
That's a great
Yeah.
show, Mark. You need to catch that in reruns.
It's pretty funny.
There's a lot of stuff I need to catch in reruns.
Yeah. So there was a BBC drama in 2005 called Spooks, and it was based on British secret agents that would stop terrorists before they could strike. So they would like get a clue and then like follow it out and stop them before it happened. So in 2005, they filmed an episode where terrorists were trying to bomb train stations in London. It aired, and exactly to the day 1 month later is when all the train bombings happened in London that killed 52 people.
Oh, that's
terrifying.
That gives me a shiver right there.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Killed 52, injured more than 500 people. So
Wow.
they were like, did they have information or something? Or
That's wild.
I mean, they could have, or it could have been one of those inspiration things. Oh, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So let's do a Star Trek one. So 1967, Tomorrow is Yesterday episode. The Starship Enterprise jumps back in time to 1969 and picks up a radio transmission from NASA in which they overhear words about astronauts preparing to blast off from Cape Kennedy for man's first trip to the moon. Right? So it's actually correct. So 1969 is when we went to the moon for the first time. It was July 21st, 1969. So they got the
year right.
The year
The
correct.
year right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
now we knew they knew they were going at the time, but they didn't know when. So
Right.
it's kind of interesting.
Isn't that the episode where they meet the guy whose pet cat is actually a girl?
I don't remember.
Oh, good lord.
There's too many episodes.
They got a little wild with it sometimes. Some of them would have made great anime.
Gary 7.
Okay, so in late 2019, there was a TV show called The Watchmen. It
Ooh, I
didn't
remember.
last. Yeah,
Dude,
didn't
I-
last for very long. But in it, they envisioned a world where everyone masked to protect themselves. Everybody had to wear a mask because of all the stuff going around.
Right.
And civil unrest started to rule the streets. It aired just months before the pandemic started, and the whole riots and everything started in all the
Yep.
major cities. So it was kind of like weird.
Ooh. But
So-
I mean, how hard was that to predict?
Are we looking at predictions, or I mean, there's another theory out there that the cabal or whatever you want to call it have to show what we're doing, what they're doing in entertainment.
That's another theory, you know.
So
Or is it
that's
just
kinda-
life imitating art? Because
Yep.
Yeah. Here's a good one for you. That happened a good 20 or this came out 20 years before it happened. So I don't know. This may be a little bit too old for some of our viewers, but Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
I've seen
Very
I
it
old
remember
show.
laughing. I loved laughing
It's where Goldie Hawn got her start, really. She
I
was
had
a
a
go-go
crush.
dancer on it.
on
She was one of
laughing
the-
Goldie Hawn.
What they
Yeah.
call her? I can't remember what she was called. One of the, not the dancing girls. What was she called?
She was a go-go girl.
Yeah, that was
Go-go
it.
dancer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a go-go dancer. For anybody who doesn't know, go look it up. You can see old episodes on YouTube and stuff like that. It's hilarious. It's a short sketch show with little funny tidbits in between, and it's just a variety comedy is what it was. Anywho, in 1969, so there used to be a little skit on it. It's kind of like SNL. They had a little section that was like the news. There was a news reporter, and they would do funny news, just like SNL. And on this particular night, Dan Rowan played the reporter that night, and he reported on future events this night. He was like, so many years in the future. And he said, and I quote, Berlin, 20 years from now, 1989, there was dancing in the streets today as East Berlin finally tore down the Berlin Wall. Which actually
Wow.
happened on November 9th,
That did
1989.
actually happen. Yeah.
20 years later. So I don't know if they had an exact date ready on that one.
I can
but
still
they
hear.
sure
I can
did it.
still hear Reagan saying that. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I remember it vividly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great victory for everybody, most particularly for the people in East and West Germany whose families were separated by the
Mhm.
Iron Curtain. So
I remember sitting on my living room floor with my sister watching it. Like we left it on all day because all the channels, that's what they were playing was
Yeah.
footage of them, tearing that down and dancing and celebrating and stuff. And my mom was like, sit down and watch this because this is
that's
important.
history.
It's
That was
history,
history.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
there.
I think they do.
I think they do, Enzo.
Yeah.
Still have a chunk of that wall at the Cosmosphere.
All right, now this one I thought was really cool. I've never actually, so this is from the TV show Supernatural.
Oh, that's
I've
a-
never, yeah,
never
had the
watched it.
opportunity to watch it.
Watched the
Y'all,
first
so-
season.
what the hell?
What?
Seriously, you've never watched it?
I like real paranormal, not fake paranormal.
Oh no, this is a really, really good show. Like really
I've
good.
never had the opportunity.
I am
So,
shocked. I
yeah,
am taken aback. I am aghast.
everybody,
Even worse than me
Pam is
hating horses.
aghast.
I am aghast.
So in 2009, season 5, episode 4, Dean gets sent to the future where the streets are strangely empty, which he finds out later is due to a pandemic that is happening. due to something called the Croatoan virus.
Wow.
And he's told while he's there to be very careful, and he should also hoard toilet paper because that's what everybody needs.
Now that
No,
is
no, no.
mind blowing. And
No,
who would have thought a respiratory virus was going to cause a run on toilet paper?
Yeah.
Nobody would have thunk that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this in 2009, so 10 years out.
Yeah.
I thought the toilet paper was the kicker for me. I thought it was interesting that the
That's a big deal.
pandemic started with a C, you know,
Yeah, and the toilet
like ours
paper.
does, like
And Croatoan.
coronavirus.
Someday I'll tell my grandkids, I remember the toilet paper.
Back in my day, we fought over toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wrestled grannies in Walmart for toilet paper.
Yes, Grandpa, you need to take your meds and go to bed.
Yeah. All right.
That's
so
back in the olden
next
days.
one.
But y'all, seriously, okay, before we move on,
Yeah. Okay.
y'all have got to watch Supernatural. It is fire, I'm telling you. It is really, really, really good.
I will give it a shot.
You need to.
Okay.
I want to watch that
Even
someday.
the first episode is just hilarious.
And I want to watch.
All I have to do is say Mulder, Scully. You guys watch the
Okay.
first episode and then you'll laugh because you'll get what I mean.
Okay.
I'm predicting.
right.
I'm predicting.
I need to
Everybody
see
has
Game of
homework.
Thrones
Go
too-
watch
Thrones, too.
Supernatural.
So I haven't seen that either.
You haven't watched
All
what?
right. So
Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. I've watched, this may be an unpopular opinion. I've watched most of it.
It's a good night for unpopular opinions. I had a doozy earlier, so I mean,
Leave it.
you're not going to beat that one. I'm going to get
I
hate
don't
mail.
know.
I'm probably going to get a horse's head in my bed, courtesy of the
Probably.
local mob. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
See,
like.
Enzo knows.
Enzo knows everything, though.
Enzo, it's good. It is
Enzo
that
should
good.
be in charge of all of us because
Yeah, that's kind of
I mean,
true.
it's like
You're
herding
gonna give
cats.
Enzo a big head. Is what
Enzo's
y'all are
also a
doing.
who head. So, yay.
You got to keep
He
him in
is.
his
He
place.
knows the good stuff.
And a snappy dresser.
That's right.
Said it's only 15 seasons. If you start now, you may be caught up by the Paracon.
They
Yeah,
did
because I have time for
run-
that.
Yeah,
they
right.
did a spin-off
I watch
series
1 hour
called
of TV a week.
Winchesters. It was actually pretty good. I'm surprised they. I don't know if they're redoing that one or not, but it was pretty good.
I watched the first season of it and I enjoyed it. I just haven't got into it since it first came
It
out.
stays good and it gets better. The Scooby-Doo episode. Yes. See, he knows too. Sylvain knows. It's good stuff.
I promise I'll try to watch the first few episodes and see what I think.
We have it at the library on DVD.
Okay.
We have all 15 seasons.
All right. Moving on from Supernatural before Pam has a conniption. So I found this one by accident and I thought it was interesting. So I ran into a Matthew Perry TV show that happened before Friends. It only lasted for one season. It was only like 10 episodes too. It was a TV show called Second Chance. It came out in 1987. And this is actually the very first episode that I'm going to talk about. Season 1, episode 1, September 26, 1987. So the very first scene that pops up is St. Peter at Heaven's Gate with a line of people coming in, and he's checking them off and telling them if they can go through or not. And in the line is Colonel Gaddafi, right? The Libyan dude. Omar Gaddafi, right? Who has multiple gunshot wounds to his chest.
Ooh.
Right? Meanwhile, October 20th, 2011 is when Omar Gaddafi was gunned down and died from his chest wounds.
I'm not sure how much a prediction that was as an eventuality.
The thing was that like the gunshot wounds matched pretty well.
Ooh, that is weird.
Yeah, to their positions.
I've never heard
It
of
was
that
like
show. by the way.
Nobody has. It's like Matthew Perry doesn't even like to list it on his, or I should say didn't like to
Didn't.
list it on his stuff. He's since passed. But yeah, it was like before he ever made it big. And it was just one of the many failed shows he went through. Yes, he had other wounds as well. All right. So moving on, Family Guy. We were talking about Family Guy earlier. We're all big fans. This one came out of season 5, Meet the Quagmires. So in it, the Grim Reaper is there. Grim Reaper is one of the characters that comes on often. It's one of my favorites. He reveals that at the time, Supreme Court Justice Scalia had been accidentally killed during a hunting accident with Dick Cheney. Right?
Oof.
Meanwhile, that was in 2007, by the way. In 2016, Scalia did die after a day of quail hunting in Texas.
Yep.
Not by Dick Cheney, though.
No.
Thank
That had
goodness.
been
No.
Because he did accidentally shoot somebody, didn't he?
He did, like,
Cheney
it
did.
was a little joke, like a year before that aired, he had accidentally shot a friend on a hunting trip.
That's, I
Not
was
a
gonna
lethal
say.
shot or anything.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
he
it was
did
a
accidentally
joke.
shoot someone.
Yeah. But it followed this, you know, this other dude,
That's
unfortunately.
freaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
So after this is my long list of 9/11 stuff. So if you want to touch on that a little bit, we can, or if you want to end it there.
If we get started on that, we'll never get off of it. So maybe we should save that for another show. Yeah, because you're right. We do need pictures
Yeah.
for a lot of that
A
stuff.
lot of these need pictures.
Because I've got several in my mind that I can recall that I haven't looked up that are images. So maybe that's a good place to wrap it up.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
because we have a lot. I have a lot of 9/11. We should do a whole, maybe the next show. Well, no, the next show should be the harmonics because we've been really working on that. But maybe the show after that, we'll do 9/11 predictions.
I'm all in.
That'll work.
Cool.
I'm all in. It's, you know, I love predictions. Predictions are always so. It amazes me that people either guess or mathematically calculate or what have you, and come so close so many times.
Yep.
It really makes you think that there is something going on. So
yeah. Okay. I'm going to show one just to kind of pique people's interest to how crazy some of this stuff is. If you would look up something for me. So I need you to look up a rap album by The Coup. COUP. The Party Music Album. So this rap album was due to come out September 12th, 2001.
No. Are you
I've
serious?
got it right here.
I'm very serious.
It is.
We'll just let the audience see this.
Goodness.
Let me present.
And it was set up to come out when?
September 12th.
The day after. Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
That's actually close to the actual images. That's
It is.
The rappers were horrified. They pulled it, of course, before it went out. Didn't allow it to go on shelves. And later on that month, they actually recalled them and changed the album artwork and put it back out again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
That's just a little, yeah. Yeah, I have the Lone Gunman I have on my list. There's page after page after page of stuff just like that you saw there. So,
wow.
Yeah, it'll be a terrifying show.
That would be a terrifying show. I mean, and it would be perfect for this show because Nobody would have predicted that. I wouldn't have predicted that.
Right.
No.
So,
Who would have thought those buildings, I mean, those towers would have come down, you know?
yeah, I mean,
Yep. Oh, I didn't mean to leave on a downer.
That's one of those things where everybody remembers exactly what they were doing
Yeah.
and where they were.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I remember that day from beginning to end.
Mhm.
Everything I did that day, everywhere I went.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All righty. Well,
Well, poop. I ended that badly. Sorry, everybody.
never a bad ending. I mean,
let's
everybody
bring it
left
back
after I
up.
told them I didn't like horses. So
Let's bring it back up by saying, everybody, homework, go watch Supernatural.
Yes, go watch Supernatural. And yeah, so in 2 Mondays,
Now I wanna watch
we'll
it
be
again.
doing the harmonic show that we were actually promising for today. We apologize. Some stuff happened and we were not able.
Pam happened.
Well, it actually turned out to be a good thing.
It actually deserves more research than we had given it time for it because there was just
The
so much
topic
stuff.
is huge.
Chris.
So we will be able to bring you a fantastic show.
It'll be
for
a
the
good
next one.
Well,
Yeah.
as long
And
as
then-
you two are on there,
yeah.
yeah. I'm kind of dumb.
And then
And-
2 weeks out from there, we will do the 9/11 predictions. And just so
That'd
be
be
ready for that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Real quick, I'll go ahead and make the announcement I talked to you guys about earlier. I'm going to be stepping away from this show. I've got some more irons to throw in the fire, and I don't think I can make this show and that work. I will drop in time to join you all.
Yay.
It's just going to be kind of tough. I want to see how it's going to work. And if it works, I'll jump back in with you guys. But as for right now, I'm just going to step away, kind of take a break from this show a little bit. I'll still be with What If Tomorrow. And like I told you guys are doing an awesome job with this show. So just kind of the way things are working out, so I will be stepping away for a little bit.
Well, we will definitely miss you.
Absolutely.
If nothing else, is the voice of reason.
No kidding.
I'm on the show. We need a voice of reason. I mean,
that's why Pam and Jess are here.
Oh.
I just keep the show on track. There's no reason to it.
Well,
I'm just
that's close.
a squirrel.
Well, that's closer than what Mark and I would do. I mean, we're off the rails as soon as it starts. So
That's true.
There's a reason why his name is Rabbit Hole Man and mine is Swiss Cheesehead. It's not made up. It's for real.
Right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we'll say goodnight. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you guys.
Good night.